What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another video, another active self-protection video. When y'all out there active, make sure you protect it. You know what I'm saying? But just by reading this title, this is probably an interesting one. Rookie officer makes a bad judgment call in a heated situation. Let's get into it.
Here for some kind of like intoxicated people and some kind of disturbance at a liquor store. Our officer who is responding is an absolute rookie. He has just been added to this force and I think was only on his own for about 3 months before this. We have badge cam audio from what happened that day. Let's listen in.
What's going on, bro? You going to do good?
Yeah.
Huh?
Back up.
You doing good?
Yeah, stand right there. Do you understand me?
What's going on?
Stand right there.
You doing good?
Yeah, you're gonna stand right there, okay? Do you understand me? Stand right there.
I hope you have a good night tonight. I'm sorry about the broken glass right here.
You did this?
I didn't do this, but
Okay.
he tried to like wrap me up and shit.
Okay. Well, go ahead and turn around for right now, okay?
I'm not trying.
No, you're not. You're gonna turn around.
Ah,
Is this the guy?
I can't be detained right now.
You're gonna be detained.
I can't be detained right
You're
now.
gonna be detained.
I can't. Hey,
You're gonna be detained. Hey, quit it. You're gonna be detained.
be detained right now.
You're gonna be detained. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back now. You're gonna get tased. Do you understand me? Put your hands behind your back. But
Hey, that was uncalled for, bro.
get back. Get back. Get on the ground! Now! Get on the ground! Get on!
and see, that's the thing with these cops, bro. You can hear the fear in this man's voice. Like, you gotta like street test these dudes, like see what they done been through. See, this video been going on less than 2 minutes, and this man already yelling and screaming and stuff like that. As a cop, you supposed to be diffusing a situation, not escalating.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
What the?
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get back! Get back! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Turn around! Turn around!
Bro, are you shitting me, bro? And he pull out the gun and pop him, bro, as he's already.
Turn around! Put your hands on your back! Now! Give me your hand! Give me your hand! Give me your hand! Give me your hand!
You wouldn't even do anything, man. You shot for nothing.
Yeah. Hey, go to the car, tell them shots fired, shots fired.
Hey, you're a fuck.
1-3 county, shots fired, roll AMR.
Like, he didn't even see if that was the right person,
The
bro.
man who was shot was named Jonathan Price, and he unfortunately died at the hospital. The officer here, 2 days after this event, the Texas Rangers arrested him, and a grand jury did bill him. His department fired him for this event, and then just not too long ago, the trial went all the way through to the end. He was only charged with murder 1. No lesser includeds were included in that. The jury was entirely made up of white people from the neighborhood, and he was acquitted at trial. The civil lawsuit is still ongoing in this case. Hey, I just want to take a minute and say what we do here at Active Self-Protection. These are built for training for law enforcement officers and to inform the general public. All we're trying to do here is call bulls and strikes and help us all be better as a society.
Yep.
So please, let's just be respectful in the comments and let's dive in. I'm going to say at the outset here, as we look at our analysis, this is not just Mike and I, okay? I ran this by literally every cop that I know of, high quality sergeants, lieutenants, training officers, and basically every single one that I ran it by had the same thing. And rule number 1 here is, I'm just going to be honest about it and adult, is that rule number 1 is show up and don't be a dick. And I think that, again, this guy is friendly. He's going to stick his hand out here. He's acting in a friendly manner, and there's no reason to come so heavy on this.
Yeah, I know as well as any law enforcement officer.
Even if, like even if he can't he sounded a little intoxicated or something like that. As a man, shake his hand. You know, feel his strength to see if he's actually drunk or does he have a little strength behind that shake. He didn't get a man a chance at all.
Have you ever showed up at a party late and everyone's drunk already and you were not, and you walk in and it's like dealing with a room full of children? It's no fun to deal with drunks. Everyone knows that. Every cop has been on the force for 2 minutes knows dealing with a group of drunks, there's been an altercation, you know, I don't want to be here right now dealing with these people, this guy's drunk, whatever. But with that said, I worked with a few cops over the years who would turn a completely compliant person into a non-compliant person because of their attitude, their demeanor. Just because they're drunk and you don't feel like being there right now is no reason for you to come in super hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Like, look, hey man, I'm not allowed to shake hands. You can say that. You know, I'm not allowed to shake hands. Department rules, which is true in some places. Yeah. Do me a favor. I do want to talk to you. Can you come over here and just sit on the curb for a second while I talk to everyone else and kind of figure out what's going on here? Something like that. Anything other than, you know, you're being detained immediately. This guy's clearly not a threat. He was a little obnoxious. That's about the only thing he was guilty of.
Well, and again, he's drunk. Drunks are obnoxious, right? And so you got to kind of recognize that, all right, I'm dealing with a child because he's drunk, and you can tell that just from his slurred speech and whatever, but he's a friendly drunk. So officers, hear me, let the friendly drunk be friendly. Hey man, I'm good. You good? Okay, good. You're good too. Tell me what happened here tonight or whatever. So instead he goes, hey man, you're detained. Turn around,
real.
put you in cuffs. And then that starts.
He don't even know if that was the right dude.
Nah, man, I'm not detained. I'm not going in cuffs tonight. So now we've escalated the conflict. Now, I will say, yes, should he have said, okay, officer, yeah, fine, but what's this all about? Yes, he should have. But that's not a death sentence. And again, we've got to recognize in our culture and in our times that comes with baggage on that this guy who was the victim of somebody else attacking him then goes, wait a minute, I'm the one who's going into cuffs, and that starts to tell him a story in his head that starts to escalate the conflict, and we've got to be aware of that.
We've talked a lot recently, John. Unfortunately, we've talked a lot in the past couple months about sort of an erosion of trust. You know, all of the good, people will say, all of the good police encounters that day didn't make the news. Well, that's right, they didn't, because they were good police encounters. The ones that aren't good make the news. As a law enforcement officer, you've got to be cognizant of the fact that we're in a day and an age and a time when optics really, really matter. You know, John has a friend who's a law enforcement officer who said, can you please do some nice videos where the cops look good for just a couple of those, please, before I quit my job? I was shocked when I saw this, John. I was really shocked my conscience. And if this sort of thing continues to happen, I fear for the direction that things are going and the general public's attitude towards law enforcement becoming really soured.
And it is more and more because of stuff like this. Now, listen, officers, you got to understand, oh, okay, fine. This guy's just walking away from you slowly and you decide to tase him? I think that's objectively unreasonable. You might say, well,
first off, tase him behind his back.
He's not compliant and he is doing so physically. I don't think walking away from you is physical resistance. It's simply walking away. And also, if you use the taser and it is not effective, which it isn't when you don't get good prong spread, you are escalating the conflict 100% of the time. You've got to recognize it escalates the conflict.
So we've talked about this before, John, but there's passive resistance and there's active resistance. So active resistance is I'm punching you, I'm trying to get away from you. Passive resistance is I'm holding my arms to the side, not putting them behind my back when you're trying to get me in handcuffs. Passive resistance is I'm walking away. I think if I can just digress for a moment, going back to the beginning of this tape, I feel like him waiting for a couple more officers or deputies might have been a good idea, just so that it's not just him and a bunch of drunks. But in this moment, I just don't see the justification for using any secondary, any impact weapon, any secondary, non-deadly, less lethal, anything like that. The guy's literally just walking away. This is a relatively small town. I think odds are, if this guy's super important to find, we'll find him tomorrow. We're dealing with a post, a post party or funeral, whatever it was, fight where some glass got broken. I think discretion needs to be the order of the day here, and it just wasn't.
Well, and this is a case of one bad decision snowballs into the next, snowballs into the next, snowballs into the next, which is officers, hey, you've got to back up and make the good decision early, so then that way you don't end up in this. And the next bad decision is, oh, okay, my taser is being ineffective. So then the officer drives in close to him and keeps the taser up and on him and points it and pushes it right in his face. Like, that's going to add to its effectiveness. the thing ain't working, it ain't working. And it's as simple as that. Now that either means change the cartridge in it, put it back in your belt, do something else. And just because your taser fails, we've said this on the channel before, does not authorize escalating the conflict to deadly force. It simply doesn't.
Yeah, deadly force is authorized when it's authorized. And the fact that your baton blows or your pepper spray or whatever else didn't work doesn't give you a green light to escalate the use of force. This man here at some point is going to kind of sort of reach for the taser. And people might argue, well, you know, he could have used the taser against this officer. That's been a big debate over the last few years as to whether or not a taser is considered, you know, a reason for an officer to use deadly force. In this specific case, I will say, no, it's just not. I just don't see it at all.
Well, and in this case in particular, okay, he does reach out his hand to grab a hold and kind of paw at the taser. But a couple things. Number one, the taser's already been discharged, so it doesn't have any more prongs in order to be used. Number two, preclusion is going to be a big problem. This is where our first shot breaks here, is that all he had to do was just pull his hand back and stay out of the range of this trunk. That's what a taser does.
But he's so fucking scared. Never been in a real life situation, man.
And then didn't move himself out of the way. I think he had big preclusion problems. And I think, quite frankly, he shoots at him 4 times, hits him at least twice in the chest in that time. And again, if you go, oh, okay, wait a minute, the guy came and pawed at the taser, but the taser had already been discharged. I don't think that you know, he really has the ability to grab hold of it and do deadly harm with it, because the officer could just pull back away from him and back up and off of him. So given all of that, I don't see it. Now, the only charge he was charged with was murder 1, and so the jury ends.
These cops, man. I don't even know why would somebody even want to be a cop nowadays. Like, if you think about it, y'all just here to ruin people's lives, write people tickets and take people to jail and shit. Like, don't nobody got no type of honor or anything like that nowadays. They just looking at this as a job. Then you get a asshole like this, never really been in a real situation, scared of a black man, you know, and pull out a gun and straight shoot him. You know, and it seemed like, bro, you could have took him on. You could have fought him. You know, where the fuck the baton at? You just escalated from the taser to the gun. Like, come on now, man. Like, seriously, these cops gotta do better, man. For real. But if you like this video, get a like, comment, and subscribe, y'all. I'm just so lost for words. I can't even speak right now. This is bullshit. I hate this. But I'm out of here, y'all.